at that time, I had no idea what Toastmasters was. I need to do a presentation. I asked my best friend to come along. And I said, okay, give me feedback after my presentation. I done it, and then I asked her, how was it? And then she frowned and, well, I suggest you go to Toastmasters. That's what happened, and that's how I started my Toastmaster journey. Now, so instead of telling you that I has been a Toastmaster for 20 years, I'm going into a story. And how was it to you? More interesting, right? So this evening, I would like to share with you my little experience of how we can use stories to keep our audience interested, and more importantly, make them feel. Now the thing is that, I'm sure you have heard about your mom, nagging mom story, right? Mom nags, you know, information in, information out, right? The only way that you can remember would be that you feel something inside, and the body never forgets. The body never forgets. So in any speech, you can make people feel, they will never forget. That's simple. Have you ever heard about this internet story about a beggar? A beggar begging in front of MTR exit, and then he has this little sign in front of him. He is blind, by the way. It's something like that, I'm blind, please help me, something like that. Passerby, nobody kind of pay attention. And then the story goes like this. Somebody who study art, literature, whatever, right? Flip over his sign and then write something else on it. And after that, some magic seems to work very well. People dropping money onto his kind of little pot. And then he was very kind of surprised. How come? What happened? Obviously, he was not able to find out. And then he grabbed someone and asked, what's there on that flip over paper? And he says that, somebody told me, today, the sun is beautiful, but I cannot see. See? The difference is, if you can make people feel, this is what motivation, this is what inspiration is all about. So story can make us feel. And of course, if you make any speech, you want people to remember. Right? So this is what the power of stories. So are you agree? Yeah. Very good. So let's move on how we can make stories, how to tell stories. What is it? First, of course, we have to decide when you're going to prepare a speech. If you want to tell a story, before telling any story, ask ourselves, why do I need to tell a story? So this is what we call the moral of the story, right? The moral of the story must be decided at the outset, very clearly, that what exactly we want the audience to remember. This is the message. Secondly, then of course, you're coming to this, what we call the storyboard. How are you going to say it? And we call the multi-sensory stimulation. You tell a story, you just do not tell a story too straightforward. Okay, then, all right, I study in a boys' school, and then I study in almost like a boys' school in university because I was in the engineering faculty. No girls. Right. So I mean, this is not exactly multi-sensory stimulation, meaning that we put in a lot of spices to make the story kind of stand out, right? I'm going through this and then I'm going to, hopefully I can recite one of my speeches about the story of the three little piggies. How many of you heard about my story of the three little piggies? You must have heard about the story of the three little piggies, right? Yes. But I'm going to tell you the wolf version of the three little piggies. Okay. I'll go through this first. Then the storyboard is about the character, who the character is. But remember, most importantly, is the core message that decides how the story will go. Right? Then the opening body conclusion. Finally, the twists and turns. Twists and turns is where people will get caught. Because in the twists and turns, people, what exactly is going on? Then you're going to drive home the message. This is how we do it. Now, let's see. Okay, all right. Let me try to tell that story. Now, I might need a little bit of help from my electronic reminder. Yes. Right, here you go. For hundreds of years, I, the wolf, have been sadly misunderstood by story lovers like you, and you. That you guys love the three little piggies, and I have to carry the name of the big bad wolf for years. Now, tonight I'm going to tell you my version of the story. Once upon a time, I was a certified hypnotherapist, specializing in curing obesity. Then one day, the mom of the three little piggies called me. She wanted me to do a bit of work on her three piggies, and she said they were getting too fat. And they want me to do something because the three piggies are growing so fat that they have to move out and live individually in their own houses. They're overweight with clear evidence of compulsory eating disorders, and psychological treatment was urgently needed. And I tried to offer them a free counseling session, and because two of the three little piggies live nearby, so I decided to visit them first. And if I were a little too forceful in calling the attention of the first piggy, it was only because I find it very difficult to ask them to open the door. Now, I swear I never say anything like, little pig, open the door. I will huff, I will puff, I will blow the house in. I didn't actually say it. What I said was, little pig, let me come in. I used to be fat too. Let me come in, and I would love to tell you my story of dieting. You're gonna buy it. And surely, I was trying to help, but all my kind words fell on deaf ears. These three little piggies need a bit of Toastmaster teaching in listening. Right. Well, as you can see, I did not intend to harm anybody, but then I must say I had no idea how flimsy the two houses were, and they reportedly built by themselves. They were so fragile and flimsy that both of them collapsed upon my sneezing. I sneezed because the two piggies seemed to bear a very strange fragrance that mixed with their body smell. And when I opened my eye, the house is already collapsed and turned into a pile of rubble, and the two piggies were buried inside. And I frantically tried to dig them out, but by the time I found them, they're already motionless, breathless, speechless, and lifeless. And I was so frightened because I had no idea how to handle their bodies. I do not want to leave them unattended and exposed. So I decided, now this is the twists and turns, listen very carefully. So I decided to swallow them. And make sure they have a dignified burial in my stomach. So you see, I was acting in complete good faith. Just that they were victims of their own lousy house. Nothing to do with me. But I was almost the real victim of the third piggy. Now the story goes like this. I failed to offer my service to the first two piggies, so I put all my hope on the third piggy. I went to his house and asked to go in, and he refused. And he refused. This is important. Okay, all right. He has this stronger personality compared to his two brothers, as the build of his house reflected it. Right. And very politely, I asked him to let me in. He refused, and he threatened to call Superman. I started to worry about him because this is the very similar kind of hallucination, very common in obese clients. And my professional gut feeling is that he desperately needs treatment. So while I was talking, I climbed to the top of the roof in order that I could make sure that he hear me clearly. But then accidentally, I fell into the chimney. And it was a terrible fall. And I must say that I really want to sue him because he did not maintain his house. And I want to sue him because of the hot water, the injury for the fall, as well as the hot water he was boiling at the bottom of the chimney. How would anyone, with a righteous mind, would know that hot water hurts, right? Pigs. So luckily, because of my thick skin, I mean here, I only suffer from first-degree burn. But that little piggy, he went out and spread the news I killed his brothers, and I wanted to harm him. And how could that be true? Now here is the twist and turn. The twist and turn is here like that. Listen. I said, how could I be? Because I'm actually a Muslim. My religion would not allow me to eat pork. I mean, letting the two piggies to rest peacefully in my stomach had made me feel really disgusting. But I could not sleep for nights after this terrible personal sacrifice. And here comes the moral of the story. I said, now you have heard my side of the story. What is important here is not whether my name is clear. Although I know my name is already clear, I'm a very kind of lovingly caring and professional wolf with a kind, pure, and righteous soul, right? What is important here is no matter what culture it is, there's always an untold side of the story. So much important, you listen to two sides of the story. So this is the moral of the story. Now, so coming back here. How was the opening? The opening was about the wood, right? If it catches your attention, it's because it's a story that you know very well. Piggies. You know about the piggy story, right? But then important is that the twist and turn comes in when I said I'm a Muslim. I don't eat pork. So everybody has been misunderstanding me for years. They're thinking that the wolf killed the piggies. In fact, it was not. That I was actually having a very kind heart. But most importantly, the moral of the story is that, in fact, there are two sides of stories, right? So this is how we build a story in a speech. Although you said this is a rather playful story, right? It's a playful story. It doesn't matter. Now, when we say multi-sensory stimulation, the choice of words are very important. And then the movement on stage. Because people listen to story, particularly an audience like yourself, you're not just expecting the listening. I'm not broadcasting on the radio. You're seeing me acting out, so the movement also do part of the speaking. And of course, more importantly, the vocal variety. Because the imagination is inside you. All I can do is to help you to excite you with the imagination. Okay. Choice of word. Here you go. The word needs to be very vivid and simple. Simple words are very important. You still remember our icebreaker, Vivian, her speech about herself? You still remember that she's kind of standing behind the lectern, nobody can see her, and then kind of come out? All right? Sometimes that stays in our mind because when the description is very clear, that stays in our mind. So what you see, what you hear, and how you feel are all very important. Now, if I may recite another part of my speech, which is the story of Hey Jude. Some of you might have heard it because that was in my contest speech. Hey Jude, you heard about that song, right? So that song was by Beatles. It happened that I got an idea of using Hey Jude song for my speech. The storyboard or the core message was about that sometimes, if somebody seems to have offended you, at the end, it's really for you to find out that the person has nothing wrong. It's that all inside you, and you can make it right, and from that you can learn a big lesson. Now, it was the story of young Talis in his very first time of inviting a girl to dance. And I told you I come from a boys' school, right? So it was not until Form 6 or Form 5 that I had my first encounter with women or girls. So the headmaster, the principal, organized this party for us in our school hall. Wow. Kind of chairs on two sides, girls on one side, boys on the other. And then music began. It was Hey Jude, the song Hey Jude. And the boys stood up, went across all the way, invited girls. I was eyeing on one particular girl, but all right, that is my best pick, of course, is. Walked across, and then I said, may I? Now, that girl, she lowered her head. Then she stood up, and all of a sudden, she ran into the ladies' washroom. And I was still standing there, hoping that she will come back. But she didn't. And then I felt the heat on my face, on my ears. And I was wishing they dimmed further the light in the room. And I wish I could kind of turn into a little tiny mosquito and diminish altogether. But then I was still glued to the very spot. Then the song, Hey Jude, kind of surrounded me. What was it? Hey Jude, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And
forget.
you are made to go out and get her. Is that the song, right? How can I go and get her? Just her still with the ladies. No, this is how I made it, because the whole thing is about, the whole thing is about when you kind of plot out your stories, you go through your mind, and then you ask yourself, what do you see, what do you hear, how do you feel? So that would make your story much more vivid, right? Of course, we can learn how to make our description more vivid. Now, this is one example I like very much. Lane Crawford on sale. Ladies fall over each other for their beloved pairs of shoes, right? Lane Crawford's famous shoes, right? Fall over each other. So very vivid description. So all this we can learn how to use it. And we know all those words as well, right? Next, World Cup on TV. All members of the family rooted to the viewing spot. Remember, I was using this word glued to the spot, remember? I was playing my fairy to come back. She didn't, of course. Then I was glued to the spot. So obviously rooted and glued could be more or less the same. But those words that we all know, make good use of it. And they seem to enjoy feast of television than food. The feast of television. So you say, oh, I don't know those words. I have one suggestion for you. There is a dictionary, very good. The dictionary called the Collins Colville Dictionary. And that dictionary offers you many, many useful usage of a very simple word. Even words like rabbit, R-A-B-B-I-T. You know rabbit, right? Yeah. Rabbit can be used as a verb, you know that? No. In verb, it means that when a girl rabbits on, keep talking means rabbits on. It's very difficult to stop her. So rabbits on. So look up the dictionary and you find all this very amazing meaning of the word. It's a good one. You flow yourself into the bed, right? And then you sink into your sofa. That must be a very kind of soft sofa. And then next would be, early in the morning, you reach out for the alarm clock. You reach out for the alarm clock. And finally, you try to feel, where is my slipper? You feel the slipper. So easy word we all know. It's just a matter of trying to open your eyes and find out those words and using the speeches. And this is from the book called How to Write Love Letters. I like it very much. I learned so much from it. I don't kind of study engineering books. And here it is. I swim through delicious memory of our togetherness, right? And then so sparkling, lips so inviting. This is actually from Elvis Presley's song. The song is what? It's now or never. Lips so inviting. Lips inviting. How's lips inviting? Inviting lips, right? And kidnap my heart. Kidnap my heart. Those words, no, it's just in different usage, right? And more. So sometimes you can pair up those words and make it different Because this is different, people will then, they're going to pay attention. When they pay attention, they're going to remember. So font expectation means that expectation is most likely that will not be realized. Font expectation. And then of course you're like angel white. You know about white color. This is white. Look, white is white. You can make white a bit more different. It could be angel white. It could be innocent white. It could be what?
Snow White.
It could be sun-kissed smiles, right? Smile, smile, but then sun-kissed smiles. You could have punishing schedule. Maybe your schedule is so busy, so packed, it's so punishing. And finally, of course, humble. What's not finally? Humble paper cup in those cones, right? That you can find in water dispenser. Humble paper cup. And I have one more, one here. That when I was in Australia, I remember I wrote this stupid diary. The guy, kind of a very lovely, sunny guy, he stood up and said, today it's on postcard day. Postcard day. What's a postcard day? You only take pictures for postcard when it's a really beautiful day, right? So this is postcard days. See, all very easy word. User-friendly word, make better use of it in your storytelling. Okay? All right? So sometimes a repeating word will have a very big impact as well. Repeat the words. For example, songs like Beatles, they have a song like Please, Please Me. Heard about that song? Please, Please Me. Good one. But I mean, most of you are in a younger generation, probably don't even know Beatles, right? Now, Hong Kong, early in the morning, rush hour, bumper to bumper, cross our tunnel, cars kind of crossing the toll booth, and then they all converging into the tunnel, bumper to bumper. Then next, minute to minute, everybody rushing, minute to minute. Nose to nose, this is only happening in Hong Kong, right, in all those big cities. Early in the morning, you go into MCR, the stranger next to you could be 3 inches. Your nose is only 3 inches apart, right? And you have to kind of stand there for your entire journey on the MCR. So this is nose to nose. And I like that very much, is that in here, heart to heart. Heart to heart. Think about it. So powerful. All you have to do is just repeat the word. And the power is there. So not difficult to write a story as long as you use, pair up those two words, come together, do the matching. And sometimes repeating a word will create magic. All right? And what else? Yes, next. A masterpiece. I learned this in preparing my speech on the sweet and sour pork, which I like to research a little bit of it to you. I like this one very much. The writer is Alan de Botton. He graduated from, he's a French, he graduated from Cambridge. You can find his book on e-book as well. You can buy those books. This one is from the book called The Architecture of Love. Now, see how he played magic. Oops. What he says here, the house seems to be, a human being. The house becomes a witness of what's going on inside the house. It says that it has been party to early seduction, meaning that house is silently watching, your apartment. See if it's kind of a real person. So the guy bring a girl in, back home, go into bed, so on and so forth, right? The house seems to be watching. So I like that very much. It personalizes, it brings life to the house, right? And then it goes on to say that it has watched homework being written. It has observed one of babies freshly arrived from hospital, and it has been surprised in the middle of the night by whispering conferences in the kitchen. See? It's a new dimension. A very different dimension altogether. A house originates only an object. But turn it around, you make your story so much more fascinating. This is how we can do it. So in my sweet and sour pork, do I need it? Let me see. I may or may not. Allow me to recycle part of my sweet and sour pork here. Now, a bit of background about my sweet and sour pork. Sweet and sour pork, you know sweet and sour pork, right?
Yeah.
That story was that I came from a poor family, and in my early days, I never taste sweet and sour pork. And you know, when you a young guy like me, when you never taste something, you really want it, right? And what I did was I turned this sweet and sour pork into a shake. Don't think simple. This is it. And I said, it's okay. And then I begged my mom, oh yeah, please, let's go out, dine out for this sweet and sour pork. Finally, my wish came true. And I said, here, finally, the legendary sweet and sour pork, all laid in front of me. And then I used the audience. So all these are my sweet and sour pork, right? And pieces individually dressed up in this beautiful deep fried golden crust outfit. They're leaning against each other, and they look so cute. And their suffocating sweet and sour smell kills me, and it really excites me more. Now, I eye on the centerpiece in a dish. As soon as my mom gave a yes signal, my chopstick jumped right onto her, and my tongue rolling like a whale in a sea of saliva. Like a whale, right? So this is fine, kind of almost like doing this, right? Oh, sorry, got it. Okay, here you go. My tongue, rolling in the sea of saliva, was eagerly waiting. And my, oh, I don't know whether that's trophy here. My navy of taste buds all erected for the historic moment. And soon as she entered, my row of teeth gave her this big hug. And she wiggled girlishly and put up a brief meaty resistance. You know, when you kind of bite a meaty pork, it will give you this resistance, right? And after a while, she began to give in and undress her golden crust outfit. You know what I mean, right? So that and came in the mixing of everything in my mouth. Pork pieces, crust bits, my saliva, so good that I want to keep them there forever. Now that's how I describe the pork in how I eat the pork. All right, okay? So it's a matter of how you use all these descriptions to make your story more vivid. And people will be fascinated by the way you describe it. Right? And the storytelling, the energy must be there. If you do not have the energy, the story will not come alive. I'm going to tell you a story of the three pigs. And I'm the wolf. I'm going to tell the version of the wolf. Would that work? It would not, right? Interestingly, the body movement is what really would amplify all you're going to say. Not the words. The words important, but not as important as the body movement. Eye contact. You must have eye contact with the audience. That's how you connect with the audience, right? And next would be your facial expression. I remember for these three little piggies, the wolf, I actually went to one of the Toys R Us shop and I want to buy this wolf mask. And the lady looked at me, she said, "You don't need one." Candace do most of the talking. You say, "Well, last night I have a wonderful seafood dinner. We ate a fish that's so big." So the hen have you to describe the fish, right? It was like, "Last night on a wonderful seafood dinner, we ate a fish which is very big." Not that, right? Not that. So the hen, just allow the hen to flow, come out, and then the hen is going to do part of speaking for you. Now, posture movement. How big the movement should be? And I suggest that you really put yourself into that character. That will help, right? When you're really into the character, it will move automatically because the body knows how to act. So important. You think, oh, I'm an old lady, then all of a sudden the body will kind of, you know, turn to make sure that you look like an old lady. All you have to do is to let go. You say, oh, I'm so elegant. I cannot, then you're not. All right? So this is important. So extended footwork, we depend on the story. The story comes in different paces. Some paces are fast, and you will have to move it fast on the stage, right? That's how you do it. And then psychogeography. Now, we listen to Bilal's speech. So if you have this Carnegie here, and then of course this very kind of surprise, Bilal. So that position would then tell you the difference. Who are they, right? So this positioning on stage would help. Now, having said so much, obviously you'll find that telling story doesn't seem to be simple, isn't it? If you want to bring the story alive, what you have to do, you really have to do all this a bit of rehearsal to make sure where you stand is going to make a difference. Use a prop, if you do need one. All right? For cases that you may need to use prop, yes, by all means. Sometimes you don't need to. Right. If I may go back there, use your props. I remember in my speech about this sweet and sour pork, no, you heard about the first part of the story, that the sweet and sour pork, the first piece was so good, right? This was exactly what I wanted. But then I said, while I was still enjoying in my mouth, then my eyes already half open, eyeing on the next piece of my sweet and sour pork. And then soon as I found it, and then I got it into my mouth, and then I gave it a big hug again, but this time expecting the sweet and sour pork second piece to put up a fight, but she didn't put up any fight. And then what I noticed was, I felt this fat and oil spilling over my tongue, squeezing between my teeth and dripping over my lips. For all this description to see that unfortunately, the second piece of sweet and sour pork was a fatty piece. But it's all encased in this cross outfit. I had no idea, right? So all this would be that I'm using the audience as my prop. So I found Tina Wong. You know who Tina Wong was? She fits in the description of my second piece of. So, in the division contest, Tina was sitting next to me. And I said to Tina, can you do me a favor? And she said, of course. I said, whatever I'm going to say on stage, you're going to forgive me, right? So that's what happened. But then, of course, we did so much in order to bring out the moral of the story, sweet and sour pork, was that my mom was right. Pork is pork. So much better. You see it naked, and what you see is what you get. This is the moral of the story. Okay. Right. Next is the vocal variety, which I'd like you to work with me together, because this is very interesting. The vocal variety we call the stress. Stress is, okay, I'll go through, there are a few of them, which we like to pay attention. And I think in telling story, the vocal variety is a very important part. Now, let's work on the stress. The stress is like that. If I'm going to tell a story, so the stress is where you put the emphasis. Here we go. I can't do that. It will be I can't do that. All right, next one is I can't do that. So I can't do that. So it's on my capability, right? And then of course you can say, I can't do that. I can't do that. So it's on the do. And finally, of course, I can't do that. It's on the that, right? So this is vocal variety. One sentence, 4 words, you could have 4 meanings on it. So when you tell stories, make sure that you put the stress at the right place, particularly when you come to the core message. Now we can work together. Say, for example, inflection means that all these ups and downs, what you call it, right? This is all I have to say from down here. Or, next one would be, are you interested? Are you interested? So this is the question, so go up like that, right? This is inflection. Now, exclamation. Oh my, oh my. So this is exclamation. Finally, can you do that? Oh, right? the vocal variety is very important. Now, let's work together on this one. I like this one very much. The students say, I was late in class, and then the teacher, calm acceptance. How would they, oh, like, oh. What about this? Questioning. Oh. Oh. What about this? Disbelieving. Oh. And very cross. Oh. Amused. Again, same story. Oh. And most finally disappointed. See? You can do it. You can do it. So you're very much into the story, and then you can do it. Now, tone color, I like that one very much too. Now, I need you to help participating in it. I don't want to do it. Now, if this is going to be boyish, so 15 years old, 14, 13 years old, how would you say it? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, right? I don't want to do it, right? So you act out, and then a voice will come, right? And oh man, well, let me do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, right? So the physiology will come in as well to help you to deliver. I don't want to do it. Still have that kind of strength, right? Old lady, how's that like? Who want to do it? I don't want to do it. So all this will call for sometimes acting out. But then it's really fun. Isn't it find it very funny? Right? It's really fun. Naughty. How's naughty like? Yeah. I don't want to do it. You see, her head will have to move like that, right? That will make the whole kind of way to the vocal variety come into life, right? And I do have another speech which I like very much is if tofu talk. I like that one very much. And it calls for a lot of vocal variety. Now it's like that. If I can do that, and then we have one little exercise that we'll do together, okay? Now, I like that one very much. Now we have all tried tofu before, right? What is tofu could talk? What would be they talking about? Do you want to know?
Yes.
Now, the opening is to draw your attention, right? And then once upon a time, there was a tofu family. Wait, the tofu daddy, tofu mommy, and the tofu daughter. Now, how tofu dad fell in love with tofu mom, and how they get married and give birth to tofu daughter, I don't know. And don't ask me. And even if I know, it would not be appropriate to describe it in detail in a Toastmaster setting. Oh, let me continue. In the tofu community, they all believe their very existence has a meaning. This is what they call the mission. The very mission is to offer themselves to feed the human race. And because without the human race, the tofu could not exist. So they understand this interdependence. In other words, the tofu and human race are so interdependent that the tofu will feel very honored if they can present themselves in the best form in serving. So I set the stage for this story. And one evening after dinner, the tofu family was sitting around the fireplace. And don't ask me, how come the tofu can get around the fire without getting fried? The tofu daughter asked tofu mom. The tofu daughter asked tofu mom, "Ma, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich?" So this is tofu daughter asking. Tofu mom. This is what tofu mom answered. "Sweetie, whatever will be, will be." The future is out to see. Whatever will be, will be. See? That's the way how you act out. Okay? You like that idea, right? Okay, this is it. I'm not going to the rest of the story. But then it's about how you use your voice to create a free, or actually here where the tofu dad, tofu mom, tofu daughter, and also the narrator. And the moral of the story is that love what you have, do your best, whatever will be fulfilled. So that's the moral of the story. Now, let's do an exercise together. Before that, this is important. The process is where you can draw attention, of course. Be courageous enough to pause in your speech. Sometimes you pause because you forget a line, right? But as long as you do not look like forgetting a line, the line will come back in time. So, create a suspense. Now, the issue about height. Vivian mentioned about build, right? And I have a little story to share. When I was in Form 1, I was about your height. And then I didn't know what I have eaten during Form 1 and Form 2. By Form 2, suddenly I come up to that kind of height. And I was not used to it. There was a school picnic in Lantau Island. And, all our classmates, me, together running on a meadow, and then with the trees like that, and then two of my classmates went past, and then I followed them, boom! The branch, I hit the tree branch, because I was too tall. My two other classmates, they went through safely, but I didn't, because I was too tall. So sometimes tall has a disadvantage, you know what I mean? See, this is how you create suspense, by boom, and I wait before I tell you what it is. Okay? The pause can be very useful. Emphasize the point, please. If you want to emphasize the point, stop, wait until everybody is looking at you, and then you say it. The moral of the story is, love what you have. Do your best. Whatever will be. So this is how you bring your core message into the brain of the audience. And you make a transition as well, right? The best way to make a transition would be to stop, pause, and then you go into something else. Finally, you create a punchline. I always like that one very much. There was years back in the Toastmaster humor speech contest, there was an Indian. It's so humorous. It was really good. And this story is about romance in India. And then he was describing, you know what? The Indian women, when they talk to me, they have to kind of rub it like that. We're going to have to stop. You know why? And it was me. No idea. Completely baffled. And then he said, because we Indian women, they have their full stop and they come out on their phone. So you create a punchline by stopping. He stopped almost for 2-3 seconds. He was kind of looking at it like, and then he suddenly said it. Oh, it killed us. And he was a champion. Of course, for posters in our counter, we said always use, all right, this is where you can swallow the R. Best to swallow the R. And as I said, it's a very elegant way to first of all, to search for the next word. If you're not sure what to say next, all you have to do, then wait. Pause and breathe. All right, if you can pause, if you find that you're still breathing, that means you're still alive. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay. All right, exercise. What I would like you to do would be very easy. 2 in a group. Well, find your partner right away. The one next to you, please. The one next to you. Okay? Find your partner, A and B. A and B. All right?